You would not think the beast had budged an inch since I last saw him. He sat in his huge chair, with his hands in his sleeves, and the heavy air never moved. I might have slept an hour, a night, or a month, but his sculptured calm, the stifling air, remained just as it had been. The incense rose from the pot, still traced the same signature on the air, the same fire burned. Take off my clothes for you, like a ballet girl, is that all you want of me? The sight of a young lady's skin that no man has seen before, stammered the valet. I wish I'd rolled in the hay with every lad on my father's farm to disqualify myself from this humiliating bargain. That he should want so little was the reason why I could not give it. I did not need to speak for the beast to understand me. A tear came from his other eye, and then he moved. He buried his cardboard carnival head with its ribboned weight of false hair in, I would say, his arms. He withdrew his, I might say, hands from his sleeves, and I saw his furred pads, his excoriating claws. The dropped tear caught upon his fur and shone, and in my room for hours I hear those paws pad back and forth outside my door. When the valet arrived again with his silver salver, I had a pair of diamond earrings of the finest water in the world. I threw the other into the corner where the first one lay. The valet twittered with aggrieved regret, but did not offer to lead me to the beast again. Instead he smiled ingratiatingly and confided, "My master," he said, "invite the young lady to go riding." "What's this?" He briskly mimicked the action of a gallop, and to my amazement tunelessly croaked, "Tantivy, Tantivy, a-hunting we will go." "I'll run away. I'll ride to the city." "Oh no," he said. "Are you not a woman of honor?" He clapped his hands, and my maidservant clicked and jangled into the imitation of life. She rolled towards the cupboard where she had come from, and reached inside it to fetch out over her synthetic arm my riding habit. Of all things, my very own riding habit that I'd left behind me in a trunk in a loft in that country house outside Petersburg, that we'd lost long ago, before even we set out on this wild pilgrimage to the cruel south. Either the very riding habit my old nurse had sewn for me, or else a copy of it, perfect to the lost button on the right sleeve, the ripped hem held up with a pin. I turned the worn cloth about in my hands, looking for a clue. The wind that sprinted through the palace made the door tremble in its frame. Had the north wind blown my garments across Europe to me? At home the bear's secrecy of magic held this palace and the fir forest in common, or should I be prepared to accept it as proof of the axiom my father had drummed into me, that if you have enough money, anything is possible? "Tantivy," suggested the now twinkling valet, evidently charmed at the pleasure mixed with my bewilderment. The clockwork maid held my jacket out to me, and I allowed myself to shrug into it, as if reluctantly, although I was half mad to get out into the open air, away from this deathly palace, even in such company. The doors of the hall let the bright day in. I saw that it was morning. Our horses, saddled and bridled, beasts in bondage, were waiting for us, striking sparks from the tiles with their impatient hoofs, while their stablemates lolled at ease among the straw, conversing with one another in the mute speech of horses. A pigeon or two, feathers puffed to keep out the cold, strutted about, pecking at ears of corn. The little black gelding who had brought me here greeted me with a ringing neigh that resonated inside the for me to ride. I always adored horses, noblest of creatures, such wounded sensitivity in their wise eyes, such rational restraint of energy at their high-strung hindquarters. I lirruped and harumphed to my shining black companion as he acknowledged my greeting with a kiss on the forehead from his soft lips. There was a little shaggy pony nuzzling away at the trompe-l'œil foliage beneath the hoofs of the painted horses on the wall, into whose saddle the valet sprang with a flourish as of the circus. Then the beast, wrapped in a black fur-lined cloak, came to heave himself aloft a grave grey mare. No natural horseman he clung to her mane like a shipwrecked sailor to a spar. Cold that morning, yet dazzling with the sharp winter sunlight that wounds the retina. There was a scurrying wind about that seemed to go with us, as if the masked immense one who did not speak carried it inside his cloak and let it out at his pleasure, for it stirred the horses' manes, but did not lift the lowland mists. A bereft landscape in the sad browns and sepias of winter lay all about us, the marshland drearily protracting itself towards the wide river. Those decapitated willows, now and then the swoop of a bird, its irreconcilable cry. A profound sense of strangeness slowly began to possess me. I knew my two companions were not in any way as other men, the simian retainer and the master for whom he spoke, the one with clawed forepaws, who was in a plot with the witches who let the winds out of their knotted handkerchiefs, up towards the Finnish border. I knew they lived according to a different logic than I had done until my father abandoned me to the wild beasts by his human carelessness. This knowledge gave me a certain fearfulness still, but I would say not much. I was a young girl, a virgin, and therefore men denied me rationality just as they denied it to all those who were not exactly like themselves in all their unreason. If I could see not one single soul in that wilderness of desolation, both could boast amongst us, not one soul either, since all the best religions in the world state categorically that not beasts nor women were equipped with the flimsy, insubstantial things when the good Lord opened the gates of Eden and let Eve and her familiars tumble out. Understand then that though I would not say I privately engaged in metaphysical speculation as we rode through the reedy approaches to the river, I certainly meditated on the nature of my own state, how I had been bought and sold, passed from hand to hand. That clockwork girl who powdered my cheeks for me, had I not been allotted only the same kind of imitative life amongst men that the doll-maker had given her. Yet, as to the true nature of the being of this Claude Magus who rode his pale horse in a style that made me recall how Kublai Khan's leopards went out hunting on horseback, of that I had no notion. We came to the bank of the river that was so wide we could not see across it, so still with winter that it scarce. The valet cleared his throat, about to speak. We were in a place of perfect privacy, beyond a brake of winter-bare rushes, a hedge of reeds. If you will not let him see you without your clothes, I involuntarily shook my head. You must then prepare yourself for the sight of my master, naked. The river broke on the pebbles with a diminishing sigh. My composure deserted me. All at once I was on the brink of panic. I did not think that I could bear the sight of him, whatever he was. The mare raised her dripping muzzle and looked at me keenly, as if urging me. This river broke again at my feet. I was far from home. You said the valet. Must. When I saw how scared he was, I might refuse. I nodded. The reed bowed down in a sudden snarl of wind that brought with it a gust of heavy odour of his disguise. The valet held out his master's cloak to screen him from me as he removed the mask. The horses stirred.